Look, I understand some people will be thinking, what the hell, man, you're talking about VR again? I know, it's difficult. I don't actually have one yet. I'm back in the PSVR train, that's still a ways off, so just bear with me. I need this to cope, okay? But regardless, since we're already talking about VR, yeah. You ever thought about, like a certain, a game series and thought, you know what, this would be amazing in VR? Well, that's essentially what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking about at least my own personal wish list of games that I would love to see in VR. So, without further ado, cutting all the bullshit, and by the way, I'm not going to be, picking some easy, freaking targets, you know what, Battlefront should be in VR. Well, no shit, that's why they're making it. Call of Duty? Okay, that's obviously also no shit. So, I'm going to be focusing on games that either are obscure or things that I honestly, these are games that I honestly feel are 100% made for VR, or they would be great in VR. So regardless, cutting all the bullshit, enough of me blabbering, let's go. SimCity. Or a game like SimCity due to the fact that Maxis is dead now. God damn it, EA. Regardless, just imagine that, a city simulator. I understand there's a bunch of, simulators already out for the VR, and there's obviously a ton more on the way. But let's go back to the classic. Just SimCity. You're able to control a whole freaking world. You have complete 360 view, and you can see your whole world under you. You're a god, essentially. And on top of that, with the use of the touch controls or the motion controls on the PSVR, you can use your hands like paintbrushes. You're able to, build the street over here. You're able to build a whole freaking shopping mall. Just use your hands like paintbrushes. That would be fucking awesome. And also, if you're a sadomasochist, you can destroy and torture everyone below you. You can be a merciful god, or you can be a vengeful one. Which one are you? Now, speaking of destroying cities, actually that was a good segue, but I'm not going to be talking about that just yet. But, yeah, there have been, talks about people we should get your fighting game in there, like Fight Night or UFC in virtual. That'd be awesome. Well, while Fight Night would be a great idea, and I'm pretty sure they're already working on that, UFC would be an issue due to the fact that, well, you would also need your legs, and unless you're going to be buying a whole bunch of other sensors for your legs too, it doesn't really seem like it's going to be working. Also, we're lazy. Not everyone's be, getting into a freaking fight with a freaking UFC fighter, so that's wishful thinking. But what about if you got to play as a, monster, and you and another monster got thrown into this whole city, and your goal was to kick the ever-loving shit out of each other, and on top of that, destructible environments and freaking multiplayer. And essentially, there's a wide assortment of freaking monsters, so you can become anything you want. And with each monster is, their own special moves. So if you were like a Godzilla type character and you want to use fire breath, just do a certain gesture, or put the controls in here and you press a certain button and you move forward and all of a sudden freaking flames are shooting out of your mouth. How badass would that be? Or even better, just any kind of movement, or just you swinging your body to the left, all of a sudden you're freaking, do a tail whip. It's just, look, I understand it seems like a very physical thing, but just imagine that. If you could be a monster for a day and you could destroy a whole freaking town while at the same time kicking another monster's ass, wouldn't that be a blast? Hey, I thought you showed no easy targets. Who the fuck said that? But you know what? You're right. This one may very well become, VR, but hasn't been an announcement of it. And I'm honestly a little worried about Valve because they've been kind of dropping the ball on their big series. But regardless, just imagine that. Left 4 Dead 3. The same mechanics as Left 4 Dead 2, but melee weapons are completely full range. You have complete 360, view. And you are able to dodge and bob and weave. So if a zombie swats at you, you can back up. Or possibly, if a tank picks up some asphalt and throws it at you, well, based on the trajectory, you could either duck under it or you could dodge to the right. Just it would just feel immersive as hell, and I would love to see that game. And again, it may very well, and honestly, I would be fucking ecstatic if it did. But in the current state of things, it's just wishful thinking, and I'm hoping to God that this one isn't too much of a fantasy, because I would love a freaking horde mode style multiplayer action VR game. It doesn't have to be just zombies. Just that concept alone sounds awesome. A real freeform sword fighting game. So essentially Chivalry. Just take Chivalry, add in VR, put in some motion controls, and keep the rest of it. That would be freaking awesome. I mean, none of this, telegraphing, hits shit like, in Star Wars Connect. I mean, that... Actually, Star Wars Connect. Star Wars. You know what? Since I did just mention Star Wars Connect, let's just change this whole entry into freeform lightsaber battles. That would be the fucking tits. And along with freaking multiplayer, holy shit. You know what? I was just about to say, I call Darth Maul, but that's going to be a very difficult lightsaber to handle. Fuck it. I call Yoda. I don't care if that's cheating. I call Yoda. All right, you know what? For this one, let's keep the swordplay that I just mentioned, and let's add some spell casting mechanics, and a huge open world with just thousands of quests, and a dungeon to loot, and a huge multiplayer server, a party system, and obviously a role-playing elements, to level up your character. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? Now, should we implement the game mechanic where if you quit the game or if you die in the game, you die in real life? Nah. Seems a little too dark. Although if EA gets their hands on this game, well, it'll be more like pay or you die. Yeah, future gaming. It's gonna be brutal. Alright, here's a weird question. Any of you arcade fans out there, have you ever heard of a game called Police 911? It's essentially a game where you're given a light gun, but you're able to bob and weave thanks to sensors that are built into the machine, and you're able to bob and weave, and it actually picks up your movements. You're able to dodge bullets. You're able to actually move and control the character in the game with your body. Well, let's take that mechanic and let's put it into Time Crisis. Look, I get it. Why don't you just do that Police 911? Time Crisis just has that overall better gameplay feel. I mean, essentially in a game where you pretty much go around murdering thousands of people. I mean, you have an alibi, it is self-defense, but again, it can get pretty morbid. It's better to go with the more arcadey vibe than the more, Police 911, I'm a cop, and I'm gonna be shooting people vibe. Just my opinion, whatever. Now, if you know what Catherine is, just think about that. Doesn't that sound cool, weird, and terrifying at the same time? Just think about it. Now, if you don't know what Catherine is, it's a puzzle game made by Atlas, where the goal is you're a character who is moving around blocks trying to climb up to safety. And if you don't do things fast enough, you will fall to your death. Or, in certain cases, or in boss levels, you will be killed or eaten by huge grotesque monsters. Yeah. It's a really fast-paced action puzzle game, and if you've never played it or have ever heard of it, please look it up because it's actually an amazing game. And thinking about it in VR is just nuts, but at the same time, it seems like a damn fun, yet terrifying, yet cool, yet weird. It just sounds like it's perfect in the weirdest, fucked up way possible. Also, the game deals with infidelity. That sounds fun. Do I really need to explain this one? I mean, look, I understand there's a bunch of races out there, you know, like Forza or like Gran Turismo, and there's also, you know, like project cars that are obviously going to be in VR. I get it. But haven't you ever wanted to get into a car accident where nobody got hurt and you didn't have to pay a goddamn dime out of your pocket just to experience it? I mean, we're human. We like destroying things. We like seeing destruction for some weird fucked up reason. It's in our nature. So, come on. You ever had a fantasy where you were, you know, Bruce Willis and Unbreakable and your freaking day job was being a crash test dummy for Honda? That sounds like a damn good time. Sign me the fuck up. But regardless of that, just even without the crashing and shit, just Burnout is just action-packed, and even when you don't crash or you get shunted from the side or like you're going oncoming traffic, it is a fast-paced adrenaline thrill ride. And the fact is, just that little, you know, thing in the background, like, hey, you know what? If you actually crash in this game, you will actually experience a fucked up, full-on, twisted metal crash. It adds tension to it, and I would love to play that. Now, this one, I am not entirely sure how it would be perfectly done, but if it was done perfectly, my god. So yeah, you're standing in a field, and in front of you is a huge giant, and in your hand you have a huge sword which you can wave around. It's a fucking sweet ass sword, and on your back you have a bow and arrow which you can access whenever you want, and at the same time you can ride a horse at your, at your leisure. But your main goal is to climb the beast in front of you, all the way to the top of its head, just so you can stab your sword right into its sweet spot. It would be the most heroic, most badass experience ever. You would feel like the chosen one, and it would be amazing because not only are you fighting a huge creature, you're also fighting for your life, and at the same time, you're hanging on for dear life. So when you're up there climbing the back hairs of this huge freaking giant, don't look down. And also, grip tight, because this thing is going to be thrashing you around. And my god, if you freaking fall, you're falling all the way down. If that doesn't sound like the most freaking awesome... I'm speechless right now, because just think about that. Think of Shadow Colossus, but you're actually the Wanderer. This should be a game. Even if it's not Shadow the Colossus, it should be something. Somebody get on it. I would love you forever. And my god, if this already exists, please shoot me a comment. I would love to even see just gameplay of this thing. Because just knowing that that thing is out there would just put a big smile on my face.
Yes!
Now, this is an Xbox 360 indie game, and I highly recommend you doing more research on it. But essentially, it's a hide-and-seek game, but in a huge crowd. And you're tasked to find your target and eliminate them. Only problem is, you have no idea what your target looks like. Only what differentiates them from the rest of the crowd. And it could either be like, an article of clothing, or an action they're doing. So, for example, imagine someone's in the crowd and they're pickpocketing people. You have to look around the crowd, you have to find the pickpocketer. Remember, there's like a trail of people saying, oh, hey, that guy's, I just got my wallet stolen. Like, we'll just follow the trail. Just essentially, this game would be perfect for VR because you'd have to be 100% vigilant. You have full range of motion, you can look around, and you just have to be vigilant. You have to be just freaking eagle-eyed, and you'd have to just look around and just try to find this son of a bitch and take them down. Now take that and add multiplayer servers. Shut up and take my money. Well, that's the video. And I think, as I mentioned before, I did try scouring the internet for like games like this, and I came up with nothing. And if I'm dead wrong, please let me know in the comments, because if there's games out there like this, or like they're have already been made, or they're gonna come out, I would love to hear about it. Also, I would love to hear your guys' ideas for the perfect VR game in your eyes. Well, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.